The meeting will come to order. Before we start the meeting, we'll have we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Lieutenant Randall. So if you'd all rise, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The following matters will come before the License Commission today, Wednesday, August 15, 2018. The meeting previously filed with the city clerk. The initial order of business will be the approval of minutes of our meeting of April 18th, May 16th, June 19th, and July 18th of 2018.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for those dates.
I'll second the motion.
The motion to approve the minutes is approved. The next order of business are the applications submitted for consideration. Item number 1, the Revere Office of Elder Affairs, 25 Winthrop Avenue. Stephen Fielding is the event manager. This is an application for a special one-day malt wine, common victular, and entertainment license. The said license is to be exercised in the Lower Church Hall of St. Mary's Parish, 250 Revere Street, on Thursday, September 20th, 2018, from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. The event will be a senior dinner dance with a DJ and catered buffet. Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Stephen Fielding. I'm the Director of the Office of Elder Affairs in the City of Revere. The address is 25 Winthrop Avenue in Revere.
Thank you very much, sir. Can you just explain briefly what your plan is for this?
As you stated in the description, it is a senior dinner dance with a buffet, with a DJ and dancing. And basically, we expect to have between 250 to 275 seniors and a number of elected officials who have been invited to attend. And it's a celebration for the second time, which we are now calling the Golden Gala.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I have no questions. Sounds like a great time. I'm looking forward to it. And as usual, it's run with no problems. We've never had any problems there. And this is an afternoon time, is that correct?
For some, for them, it's an evening event from
Oh,
3
okay.
p.m. to 7 p.m.
From 3 to 7.
Right.
Okay. No, I think it's a great time for the
It's a great
seniors.
event, and they enjoy it,
Yes.
so it's
I
well
have
worth
no
it.
questions.
I have no questions. I'm sure Steve will control the environment.
There'll be a lot of elected officials there who will be able to help with that, I think.
Well, I wish you best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll close this section of the hearing. Are there any proponents out there? Is there anybody that wants to speak on behalf of this? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed to this? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion to approve the one-day common victular entertainment license for the Revere Office of Elder Affairs has been approved. The license will be exercised in the Lower Church Hall of St. Mary's Parish, 250...
St. Anthony's.
I'm sorry, St. Anthony's Parish, 250 Revere Street, on Thursday, September 20th, 2018, from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. The event will be a senior dinner dance with a DJ and catered buffet. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 2, St. Mary's Holy Name Society, 670 Washington Avenue. Stephen Fielding, event manager. This is an application for a special one-day all-alcohol common victular and entertainment license. This will be exercised at 570 Washington Avenue on Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. The event will be the Feast of St. Lucy's dinner dance with a DJ, comedian, singer, and a full-course roast beef dinner. Name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Stephen Fielding. I'm representing St. Mary's Holy Name Society. I am the treasurer of the Holy Name Society, and I applied for the license on behalf of them. And basically, this is a fundraiser. It's our 23rd annual Feast of St. Lucy, and as you read, there are a number of things going on that evening, and it is open to parishioners with a maximum of approximately 140 to 150 people who will attend.
Thank you very much, sir. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, again, it's another great time for the city, and I have no questions.
Thank you.
Yep, I have no questions either.
Close that portion of the hearing. Are there any proponents out there? Anybody speaking on behalf of this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that section. Are there any opponents? Anybody opposed? Seeing and hearing none, I will close that. Is there a motion to act on?
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second the motion.
It's unanimous. The motion to approve the application for the special one-day all-alcohol common victular and entertainment license for St. Mary's Holy Name Society to be exercised at 570 Washington Avenue on Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. The event will be a Feast of St. Lucy's dinner dance with a DJ, comedian, singer, and a full-course roast beef dinner. That application is approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 3. Item number 3 is a request from the mayor that the License Commission consider the application of 3 mobile food vendors for a pilot program to evaluate mobile food vendor business in the city. The pilot program would be exercised on Revere Beach Boulevard at the foot of the pedestrian footbridge from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. In the event of approval by the License Commission, all licensees would be contingent upon the application received DCR approval before they could exercise the license on DCR property. These applications are as follows. Amancia Brothers, Inc., DBA Maria's Taqueria, a food truck. Marrakesh Group, Perros Pesas, food truck. And Mass Trips, Inc., DBA Elote, which is a food cart. Is there anybody that is going to speak on behalf of this? Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Dimple Rana, 49 South Ave, Revere. I'm also the director of the Healthy Community Initiatives Department. Well, I was hoping that someone from the mayor's office would actually be here since they submitted the memo for the submission. But I can speak on the pilot overall. As my department and several other departments, we are working on a food truck ordinance to have a system in place for the food trucks that have been approaching the city. And this has been all in culmination of a food report that was done by Tufts University last year, and that we're implementing some of these recommendations. The Summer Night Series was part of one of those recommendations, in which we just had our last one last Friday. And this additional pilot for the beach is something that the mayor's office would like to see the viability of food trucks at this location on the pedestrian, at the end of the pedestrian bridge on Revere Beach Boulevard.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions about?
Well, I do have some questions. I know over the years, when they first redid Revere Beach, they had made those little, I guess, cutouts for food trucks to sell different things from the stands. for some reason, they wouldn't let that go through. They said that they had decided they didn't want them on the beach. This was DCR. And I think the other thing too is, I just am a little concerned about those that are licensed on the beach, the food businesses that pay taxes all year. And in the summer, if they don't make their money in the summer, they're not going to make it. We know after September, beginning of October, there's no business for them at all. So I'm just wondering what impact it will have on these businesses on the beach. And I'm wondering what the change is. I wish there was someone here, like you say, that we could ask questions. What's the change now that they're saying, okay, it's okay? Because originally, those food trucks, that's what was supposed to be there. And I think it was a great idea. But they were going to offer it to any licensee that was on the beach at the time. So this year, I just don't have enough answers to why there's a change. And you're saying you're going to be at Markey Bridge. So you're not going to be on the ocean side. You're going to be...
On the ocean side, right next to the state police barracks.
Okay, so you are going to be there, and that's exactly what they stopped. So I'm just a little confused, and we did have some people, I don't know if the businesses on the beach were notified at any point of this happening, because when this was brought up, we did have a lot in attendance and felt they may get hurt by this. But then again, if they didn't want to do it, it was open to people like yourself that did want to have a food truck there. So I don't know, I'm just a little confused with this, how this turned around, because I thought from day one, a nice slush stand, an ice cream stand for the kids would have been great along the beach, and we were told we couldn't give a license. So I guess I just have a lot of questions about that. And do you have anything from DCR saying they're going to allow this?
So to answer your questions, and starting with the last one, there isn't official approval yet from DCR. This is just a pilot, and so DCR has been contacted. We're in touch with the Director of Legislative Affairs. We're actually hoping to have a meeting with him in the next couple of weeks, and this would include the Mayor's office, the City Solicitor, and also the License Commissioner office, to discuss the possibility of this happening on the beach. So this is not something that DCR has approved. This is in conversation with them and approaching them as the ordinance is being developed. And the ordinance, we'd like to list designated locations for the food trucks to operate, so that they're not just popping up and showing up and parking wherever they'd like in the city. And so in order to control that, that's why we had reached out to DCR to see if the beach would be a viable location. And so we're waiting to find out if that's something that could happen. In addition, we would like to also make sure that all of the brick and mortar businesses are involved with this process. And so as we're developing the ordinance, as the working group has been coming together, this is something that has come up many times, even through our research over the past year and a half, that challenges across the nation, including Boston, which has the most equitable lottery system for food trucks in the country, is also one of the challenges that continually comes up, is the brick and mortar businesses, and how do cities have food trucks operate while making sure that those that are in permanent locations are all contributing equally. And so that is also the impetus, again, for the ordinance development, so that we can develop a structure, a fee schedule, which departments they need to go through to get the permission, have the designated locations, who's going to monitor them. So this is a whole process that is being built out at this moment. And so the pilot on the beach was just similar to the Summer Nights events, which happened in three different locations, was just to test out to see which neighborhoods would work if there was a designated location, either on Broadway, on Beachmont, or in the Shirley Ave neighborhood, that could have a permanent location for food trucks, not just to operate seasonally during the summer, but all year round. So this is, again, going back to it, that we're just testing it out based on evidence-based research that was produced by students from Tufts University last year. So as we're building this forward, that we want to do this in the right way and making sure that everybody that needs to be at the table is involved and that we're also having these communications. So if the pilot did happen on the beach, looking at the economic impacts also of the brick and mortars on the beach, those existing businesses would be something that my department would definitely be looking at. After each of the Summer Nights events, we've been sending out surveys to all of the food vendors, the food trucks, the food carts, the pop-up restaurants, collecting feedback from them as well in terms of sales. But then also the second part of that is also making sure that we're including the businesses that are in those neighborhoods and seeing also what those economic impacts are as well.
They're coming here, I think we should have, I don't know, I'm speaking for myself, my colleagues can, express their feelings, but I just think to give a license without permission of DCR, I don't think we can do that. You know how strict DCR is, and even when we do the sandcastles, they have to have permission to do it and for us to give them a license, and it comes from DCR. So I don't know, you're looking for September 15th? Is that the date?
We don't have a launch date. This is just in preparation if DCR does give a green light this year, which, at this point, it's almost the middle of August. And this is, this conversation with DCR started way back in March. And now we're just hearing that, there will be a meeting in the next couple of weeks. But there's no guarantee that even at this meeting that they're going to approve permission for this to happen. And this would also be in conjunction for the citywide ordinance, and the beach would be included in that as well.
Okay.
So this is all work in progress. And, if DCR did give us permission this year for a pilot, maybe it would probably be only about a month because of the weather. But just in case that did happen, we wanted to just kind of test it out before the full ordinance rolls out.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I still don't think we have the authority. I don't have the authority for DCR. If you're talking the rest of the city also for this approval, that's different. You're
Not
just
for this
talking
approval.
DC.
This is
yeah.
just for DCR, and I
Okay.
believe the application was contingent
go across
on
the ocean.
DCR approval. So this is, DCR has the official say on this going forward or not.
On the ocean side. So this is the ocean side we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
No?
I'm talking about whether you're going to be on the ocean side or you're going to be on the same side as the station, the police station.
The same, right next to the state police barracks at the end
So
of the
then you're not going to
pedestrian
be on the
bridge.
ocean side? Okay.
Facing the ocean, but
Okay.
not on the ocean.
You're going to be on the north side,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's why when I asked you, you're going to be on the ocean side, I don't think I would be able to vote for that with DCR's not approving it. Okay, I have no other questions.
So I'm a little confused with, like, the overall goal of the program. Specifically, usually, if it's coming from the mayor's office, there's got to be some value for the city of Revere, whether it's monetary or if it's just a value in the respect of there's more places to eat, there's better food options. I don't see that in the proposal, and I've read the program pilot. It talks more about DCR stuff and what it is, but it doesn't tell you, usually when you put together a plan, a proposal, there's a mission statement, there's a goal. So I don't know, if this is not showing it's bringing, monetary value to the city. In fact, it may hurt some of the existing brick and mortar restaurants, so it might even take money away from the city. But again, I don't know, it's not in here. It also states it's 11 to 8 p.m., but is that every day?
So this is all just an application, very preliminary.
Okay,
This
so there's a lot of stuff that's
There's a
not-
lot
okay,
more
so-
that needs to be developed, and this is just to test out and getting DCR permission to do this for a temporary basis to get some of that data to see how feasible, what impact it would have.
I see,
So,
I see.
and also establishing a whole fee structure so that this is a revenue generator for the city as well.
Gotcha.
So this is all in development as part of this.
Okay, I get you. Well, thank you.
I just have one quick question. The study that was done by Tufts, was the economic impact on the brick and mortars factored in? Was there anything relative to that? Did they come up with any numbers which they assumed to be accurate?
So those were all preliminary numbers because we didn't have any sort of pilot at that time. It was just the research. So that is happening right now with the Summer Night series that just finished on Friday. And if this pilot does go forward, we're going to be doing a couple of other things and also talking to the brick and mortar businesses themselves. So this is all folding all into this. So the research from Tufts was around the brick and mortar businesses, actually, formal businesses and informal businesses, and what type of economic development could they offer to a city like Revere.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from my fellow commissioners?
No, my question still is, as she said, it's kind of early, I think, to be coming up for a license without all of these questions answered for me. And obviously, I am very concerned. We know our tax rate in the city of Revere, and I don't want to hurt any businesses. I just wish you had more facts to give us and more concrete evidence that it's not going to hurt the businesses, and that we had some kind of permission from DCR. And I mean, it sounds great. I know you've done it on Broadway, and it seems to have gone well, but you had a festival going on, so those people came here for that. But I think when you're down Broadway and someone's hungry, instead of running into one of our restaurants, they might run over to the food truck, which would be a lot quicker and probably cheaper. So I'm just concerned about the businesses in the city at this time.
And that's a very valid concern, also as a small business owner myself, that, these are concerns that we're building into this process that is still under development. So we're going to be looking at those numbers and that impact. And the Summer Night series, again, was just an opportunity to start to collect some of that information and that data to help to bring a full proposal. Once the ordinance is getting closer to being ready, we have more of a fee structure in place, other designated locations. So there will be definitely another time where we'll be coming to talk to you about licenses potentially for a whole food truck process, but that's not happening right now. This is just, we're still in the gathering data collection stage.
So,
I mean, I'm very interested in what's going on, but I still would like to gather more information myself. And you're saying throughout the city, Beachmont, Shirley Ave, Broadway.
No. So we were testing out with the Summer Nights events to see which location could be feasible for a designated location that could be put into an ordinance. So we collected that feedback from each of those locations. We're gonna, once our group gets together and to talk these things out, we'll have some concrete locations that we've built into the ordinance, also taking into account the brick and mortar locations. So right now, for me personally, it doesn't make sense to have food trucks in the middle of Broadway when we know that there's several restaurants and brick and mortars that are within the proximity of, say, a food truck even being parked in front of City Hall. And so that wouldn't be good business for the food truck, but it wouldn't be good business for the existing restaurants as well. So my hope is that we're being intentional and thinking about locations where there won't be as high impact to the existing businesses. And so for the proposed pilot for the beach, the pedestrian bridge was identified because there are businesses definitely on the beach that would be impacted, but within a 0.25 walk shed that's not necessarily at that location.
But like I say, it sounds great. I think it's a great idea. I think they should have some ice cream and slush on the beach. But I'm still concerned that the business owners have not been notified. I would love their input on it and how they felt about it. So for me, I have a lot of unanswered questions. I really do. I'll be glad to have another meeting, and if people want to come up and speak, and if you can get more information for me, I would appreciate that. But right now, I just don't have enough information on it, so I'll let my colleagues,
So yeah, so just some response to that, Linda. I think because it's a pilot, and a pilot has to be kind of somewhere to start, just like they do on the TV, they have pilots, see how it goes. I think it's more about that than something permanent, the way I see it. And no, go ahead.
I totally agree with you. You have to have a pilot program. You don't want to have permanent and lease spots and everything. I totally agree with you. The part that I'm concerned that we don't have permission to give a license from DCR. We just can't license them.
I think that's kind of a separate issue.
But if we give them a license to sell on the beach,
They still
that's
have
not
to
our
get a-
property.
Well, we can give out the license, but they have to get additional approval from DCR to execute that license on Revere Beach.
And I agree with you, but being on this when this happened before, and we did have those spots are already there for these vendors, we were not supposed to give a license until it was approved. We need approval. I look at it the same way as if, I go to a business and I say, well, I'm going to start parking cars here. Okay, I need permission from the business to do that first.
And that is the permission that we're seeking from DCR. We don't have it in,
Question. If we gave you the license, you could not go there and open a business.
no,
No.
it still
That's
has to
what I'm
come from
saying,
DCR to give the official green light. And if granted, these licenses would only be valid until the end of this year. And so if DCR doesn't decide to give us a green light this year, it doesn't matter, it's not going to happen. And, we'll keep working on building that relationship with them and, maybe next year. But this is just, when we started these conversations, our hopes were that there would be a little bit more faster communications and time to meet, but it's going to be happening within the next month. But in case they say yes, and if we are able to pilot something even for a week, it would be important just to collect that data for us to capture. But the likelihood of that happening is, neither here or there. But
Well, I mean, just for the sake of clarification, I think we give provisional licenses all the time based upon a sign-off from either the fire department or another department that may have to inspect the premises before they can open up. So
Absolutely.
I would look at this in the same context that we're giving a license provisionally based upon the DCR's approval, much the same way we would give a license provisionally based upon Revere Fire Department approval or ISD approval or something like that. But obviously,
Well, again, I agree with both my colleagues. I agree with both of you. The part I disagree with is we don't own that property.
that's correct.
That's where it's different. Of course, we can give you a license, but you have to get the approvals, and as the Commissioner said, if the fire doesn't sign off, we give a conditional. But until they sign off, you can't have it. But now you're asking for a license on property we don't own, so I guess that's where I'm at.
So on that note, so if you go to the DCR with, I've got approval from Revere Licensing, that may help them making, giving you a yes decision.
it may or may not, the
That's what I'm saying.
conversation
It's not
started.
going to hurt.
Right, it won't hurt. The conversation started as we were starting to develop the ordinance. And so seeking their permission because we can't just set up there. So this, it's all dependent on approval from them.
Very good. Thank you very much. I will, do you have anything else to add?
Not at this time.
Very good. I will close this section. Are there any other proponents out there? Is there anybody that'd like to speak on behalf of this? Yes, sir. Step up to the microphone, please. And if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hello. My name is Christian Mencia. I'm resident of Riviera, 5 Taft Street. I'd like to thank you for having us in here. We've been dealing with Dimple. in the license department for quite a while. And as you mentioned and you say, what's the advantage or what can we offer to the city? I've been resident for Riviera for about 12 years. I tried really hard to open something in Riviera. I tried several locations, and unfortunately, it's always somebody in front of me or behind me, or never works out. Dimple was really clear. She said this is only pilot program. She didn't offer, permanent license. I own my food truck. I would be the first one in Boston with the food truck. I put a proposal 15 years ago, and I stand up in the front of the license board, and they say no. 2 years later, when I spend all my money in the restaurant in Boston, I see trucks all over the place. What I would like to take everybody in consideration is if you decided to either give a license or try it out, I would like to keep it in file and say, whoever applied first, we got, the privilege. Everyone in here with the applying for license or try to qualify, we all citizens of Riviera. So, like I say, we haven't been offered nothing permanent. They say it's only trial out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Are there any other proponents out there? Is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of this? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section of the meeting. Are there any opponents? Is there people opposed? If you'd like to step up, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Queen from the Twist and Shake at 82 Revere Beach Boulevard, over right on the beach. I'm here with my colleagues located on the beach, and I can't speak for all of them. I'm just gonna kind of speak for me. After hearing, when I first heard about the food trucks on the beach, the Sandcastle Festival just came back, and I thought, oh Lord, not this again. But when I did a little bit of research, the food trucks coming on the beach, they are Revere residents. They're all registered to people from Revere. But my question is this a good opportunity for Revere? Because it's a DCR property, myself and other business owners on the beach have tried to do vending on the beach. When we first got there 16 years ago, we went to the DCR and we were told we were not able to vend on the beach because we had to vend in every single outlet along the beach. And at the time, before the renovation of the beach, I believe I counted 35 inlets. And we just obviously can't do that, don't have the manpower. But my couple of questions that I want to pose here for you guys to all consider before approving a license and before the ordinances are all figured out, I think what's really important is we have to look at revenue for the city of Revere. Where are the commissaries? Where do they pay the taxes out of? Are the Mass State sales tax paid out of Revere, or are they paid out of an outside city? I think that's very important because the brick and mortar locations on Revere Beach are all paying taxes through sales tax, and others through property taxes as well. That's the first thing. I want to make sure that when approving licenses, that the city of Revere really take into consideration. The other thing that concerned me when I read through the information and did my research was the word pilot program, and that it being 3 trucks. So pilot program usually means that it's the anticipation of something larger. So what we would request as business owners is that I understand that it's a pilot program at the end of the footbridge by Revere residents, and I'm not sure that those 3 trucks would have a huge impact on our businesses in that location and that location only. But here's my question. What is the vision of the program? Is the vision of the program to have the food trucks along every inlet? That will negatively affect the brick and mortars on Revere Beach, no doubt. We have about a 2-month window of opportunity to make money. And when I tell you it's 2 months, it's 2 months. 2 months. We all pay rent or mortgages or taxes or everything for the whole year. But we have literally 2 months. So Sandcastle Festival, because of all the changes, because of all the security changes and so on, our businesses on our end of the beach have really felt a big hit for Sandcal. It's not what it was years ago. But with that being said, hold on, I wrote everything down. The other thing that I'm a little concerned with Revere is if we have food trucks located on Revere Beach that are approved by the Licensing Commission and the DCR, when there's a foodborne illness or an outbreak, where do people call? Well, it was a truck on Revere Beach. So naturally, they're going to call the city of Revere and utilize our resources in order to research any kind of issues. So when there's an issue at my store, they call the Board of Health. Board of Health comes in, Cheryl, what's going on? And we fix it and we move on. My fear is that if someone does get sick and that there are, whatever the full blown out program looks like, there are all these trucks along the beach, who's accountable for who's responsible ultimately for the safety of the people of Revere and the customers? So that's something just to take into consideration. We've attempted to, I think that's, am I missing anything? I think and you know, it's tough because we're all trying, everybody's trying to make a living and everybody's trying to do the right thing. I know for the Twist and Shake, our philanthropy budget and how much we give back to both Revere and Winthrop is huge every year. We give back to the community that we do business. And I think that it's important that whatever businesses we choose to put in our city also do the same because we need the help. And then I think that's it. Any questions?
No, I was just concerned. I didn't mean, I didn't know who you were sitting in the audience
Oh,
when
that's
I
okay.
said they should open an ice cream truck. In no way did I mean that.
No,
Twist and Shake.
I'm not worried about
I was
it.
just, because I sometimes will walk the beach, and I do come to your place, but it's far from where I am.
Right.
So it would be nice if there was a little ice cream and slush. I just wanted to clear that up. But, so for you, say they opened it up to Revere residents. How do you feel about using those spots on the beach? Say, you know, you wanted to use one of those spots.
No, I wanted to use a couple of spots, but we
And it
were
was
told
denied,
no.
right.
We were told no, and I'm a business who's located on Revere Beach, and I've been there for 16 years. So, and I'm not looking to do anything at this juncture. This was, 16 years ago when I was much younger and didn't have any children.
I remember, that's what I was trying to explain. That's why I'm confused with DCR. They got a great program, they want to bring the trucks, but I can tell you, DCR was dead set against it, and they said we could not give a license. It's not our property. And I do remember the people, the businesses on Revere that thought they were going to get those spots.
Yeah.
And they denied them, so I'm just
And
confused.
I want to also mention something that may not be in the forefront of everybody's mind, but probably about 8 years ago, we had Friendly's and Kiss 108, it might have been 10 years ago now, Friendly's and Kiss 108 pull up in front of our establishment on a Saturday, hot July day, right in front of my 2 trash barrels, and literally gave away free ice cream from 11 to 3 on a Saturday in July. So I call the state police come down, and they said, well, they have a permit. I said, okay. So literally all day, if folks on Revere Beach have a choice between free ice cream and coming into my store and paying for the ice cream, of course, what are they gonna pick, right? Okay, so because of that instance, I went to the DCR and I made a stink. And as a result, on any permit that is given to any type of food service or anything, they have to be within so many feet away from an existing brick and mortar. And since this was implemented back 10 years ago, we haven't had an issue on Revere Beach because it completely states that any food service has to be within so many feet. Perfect. I have no problem with other people trying to make money on the beach. I don't want to inhibit anybody from making a living. But I want to make sure that we understand what the full scope of the project I mean, right now, it's just kind of, it's a pilot program, we're not sure, it's Tufts University, which I am going to look into. But what does it look like in the end? In the end, when in a perfect world and everything's completed, is there a food truck in every inlet? That's going to be an issue. And just so that everybody understands, I think there's also a misconception that Revere Beach, you're going to make a killing down there. There's not a lot of people at the beach at that footbridge. Attendance-wise, yeah. There's not a lot of people, but in addition, I know my numbers, and I meant to bring it for you, and I forgot to look it up. I know my numbers on Revere Beach has significantly declined over the last 5 years, every year. I know that there are many components that go into that number and why it's decreased. And I know most of it is not within our control. It's state police presence, which is great. I welcome state police presence. But I also think that the state police presence sometimes can inhibit people from coming to the beach. I'm not sure. I think I wanted to hear today what the overall goal was of the program. Was it to bring people back to Revere Beach, or is it to feed inner city? I'm not quite sure what the goal of the whole pilot program is. I didn't get the answer for that. But I think that's it.
Now, how would you feel about the pilot program if they were to include the brick and mortar businesses, with giving them an opportunity to get into the mix of the vending business? Is that something that you would be interested in, or the other businesses interested in?
Well, I'll tell you, for the Sandcastle Festival, the Twist and Shake vended every year except for the last 2. And I choose to be positive standing up here, but I will tell you there are many reasons that go into our decision for not vending any longer. If I'm not sure what the brick and mortars could offer, I'm not sure what they could offer the food trucks on the business. I mean, if you're asking, do we want to be a part of a food truck business I guess I just want to understand, what is the pilot program all for? Why are we even looking at this pilot program? What's the end result? What's our goal?
Okay, well, I guess maybe we can get some answers to that at some point.
Yes.
Would you like to come up and just kind of maybe address that question, if you don't mind?
Sure, thank you so much. I've been wanting to meet you.
I'm
The goal of the program, the pilot, we're still working on that, but the ultimate reason of having even the food report that was done last year with Tufts was ways of how we can develop new economies within the city of Revere. And so food vending, so mostly around informal businesses. And the informal businesses, meaning people who are cooking at home and trying to figure out how to start a business. There's language restrictions, other barriers from people who may not even know how to go about that. So we wanted to do some research, and mostly it was anecdotal of people coming and calling us to come to the farmer's market and, sell XYZ that, they're the best ever and they make them at home. Well, we can't necessarily have you at the farmer's market because you don't have your certifications, your allergen certifications, your ServSafe, commissary, all of those things. And so this has become a repeated issue the last 4 years that the farmer's market has been under my department. And so let's figure out, a way to kind of do this and do it the right way. And so that's how the report happened. And so the new economy piece was also, there's food trucks, residents of Revere who are not able to operate their business in the city of Revere. So what are the barriers? How can we help to, find ways for them to operate? So even with the Boston Lottery, even though it's, supposedly the most equitable lottery system, food truck lottery system in the country, there's still definitely challenges that food truck vendors have, depending on location, time, a number of things, even commissary kitchens, right? So if we allowed Revere resident food trucks to be able to be in this pilot, what could that look like and as a revenue generator for the city, but also for the small business owner, so that they can grow their business? So this is all in cumulation of trying to figure that out and also be respectful of the brick and mortars, because especially with food service, knowing how challenging it is to have a food service business, food retail. So this is what we're trying to kind of get the numbers, see what's working, and work with the existing businesses. So even the questions that you had around DCR saying no 16 years ago, and we kept hearing no, there's nothing on their website that even allows for any of these questions to be asked. It took a lot of digging, reaching out to our state delegation. If it wasn't for Representative Rosalie Vincent, we wouldn't have even gotten a name of anyone or even a contact at DCR to be able to even say, hey, we're developing an ordinance from the city of Revere, who should we talk to? Because they don't have anything on their website. And so we want to make sure that it's equitable for you and it's equitable for other Revere residents as well. So there's many different facets, and I would love to share the report with you too, so that you can see what
Excuse me, Dan.
the underlying goals are.
On that point, how were these three vendors chosen? Did we touch on that yet?
So all three vendors are here. These are folks that have come through one of the many city departments asking how they can operate in the city. And so there's a cumulative list that Michael Wells has, even Charlie Jafrida has at the Revere Rec, because he's been coordinating the Fall Festival. So we have vendors coming all the time. And so the Revere residents, just so happen to be that, okay, you're a Revere resident, they're coming through different avenues. So they're being bounced around.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Do any of them employed in the city of Revere at this point?
Say again? I'm
Are
sorry.
any of them employed in the city at this point and work in our city at all?
So they all live in the city.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're employed in the city, if there's other job outside of their food truck or their food cart businesses in the city. That's something, I don't know. I know for Andreas, his full-time job is his food truck. I know for Christian, also his full-time business is his restaurant, his brick and mortar in Boston, and his food truck that he just got on the road. And then Abel's son, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but his parents actually left their job so that they can do this elote cart.
So they have experience in the food cart business.
Yeah, food truck, food business.
So how does Revere receive income?
So that's part of, what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And working with all the different departments, even for Boston, for example, their application fee just to submit the application, I think is over $600. And that doesn't include permits, any licenses, or any other type of inspections that they even require. So we're trying to figure out, what is going to work best for the city. We haven't even got there yet to figure out a pay structure, because we also want to be comparable. You brought up some great questions around the mass state tax and
Meals
where are
tax.
they paying those, the meals tax.
Because wherever their commissary is usually where they pay their meals tax out of.
And then there's also conversation around, could we develop a commissary in Revere that many types of, not just the food trucks, but other types of food businesses could potentially use. So that's also a work in progress. We're looking at several spaces within the city to potentially develop that.
Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Are there any other opponents out there that'd like to speak? Yes, sir. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Vincent Laurentano. I live at 1 Revere Beach Boulevard. I own the Pizza Kitchen at 76 Revere Beach Boulevard for 21 years. I definitely disapprove of having any food trucks at any given time on Revere Beach while my little window is being taken away from me every single solitary year. Cheryl went over everything very well. I'm just not going to sugarcoat anything. It will definitely kill my livelihood. 20 years, 21 years, it's the first time I'm considering maybe not being there, because every single solitary year, the attendance at the beach goes down. I don't know what she has from the Tufts University, because no one's come talk to me. And that goes on any event that goes down on Revere Beach. Not one person ever has come to me as a business owner, as the closest full-service restaurant in 20 years. Has anybody ever come to me and talked to me about things and what do you think it benefits or how can we help or this? The only time they've come to me is to get free food to donate it for sandcastles and some other events. So it's just something that's been emotional for me for a long time. Every single solitary year that we have an event on the beach, it's been a downfall for me all around. When the sandcastles first, and before that, the blessing of the bikes, it was all good. All of a sudden, all these things happened. The security, I understand that. There's no way that we could change public safety. But it has impacted me so bad these last years with the sandcastles and everything else that it's just me thinking about leaving. And I don't want to do that. I'm a resident here too, for a long time. And it's just, you know, something that's hit home lately, you know, and I don't think that anybody knows about the attendance on the beach. I see it every single solitary day. I'm there 115 hours a week at my store. I see everything that goes on there. And there's a lot of other issues besides the attendance. You know, we brought up some that's kind of like in the realm that, you know, we can't control, like, you know, it's one of the things is about the state police. You know, I'm not gonna say in particular, but, you know, the presence, it's good to have a couple, but what's going on is just a lot of stuff making people not want to come to the beach. And my thing is the attendance on the beach every single solitary year has gone down. When I first opened, 80-degree weather, I couldn't see the sand. Now when it's 90, I could count how many people are here on the beach. So putting one extra truck, and I don't have anything against anybody, the little pilot program going on, because, you know, maybe it will do good. But like Cheryl said, it's going to turn into 3, 5, you know, and then that's going to impact me even more. And they're trucks, so they could move anytime. So if it's not good that day, they could drive down the street and go somewhere else. I can't do that. We can't do that. None of us can do that. So these are the issues that I have.
All right, well, thank you very much, sir. Let me ask you, if there was some move afoot to, say, protect the businesses by not allowing a food truck to, say, sell pizza, would you think that would not impact your business?
I think it would impact me on anything, whether it's a bottled water, pizza, because I serve everything. It's just because it's called Pizza Kitchen, it's not I just serve pizza. You know, I serve everything. So it will impact me every aspect all around. So that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Wait a
much.
minute, before you leave, so one of the things you mentioned about your business in general, with or without the food trucks, it's been not doing as well it has in the past, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so sometimes when a business is not performing as well, it could be no fault of anyone's own. It's just the nature of the demographics and the environment and what have you. And things change, like the cab business kind of, you know, when Uber came in, Lyft came in, they kind of, well, it doesn't work anymore. So sometimes you have to reinvent yourself. Would you be opposed to getting involved in the food truck business if it's found to be a profitable, a growing business? Because if that's the industry, way the industry is going for, you know, sparse areas like this, like in Cambridge and Somerville and Boston, which there's a lot of food trucks, would you be opposed to getting involved in that? Because there's no reason why you can't have an opportunity to
Absolutely.
get involved in the pub.
I wouldn't want to be part of that. And I'll tell you why. I already have enough to go on to run my own store. And anybody who knows anything about restaurants, you're there all day long. Like I said, I'm there 15 hours a day, and I got 1 million people to prove that. For me to go get a truck that's another expense. For me to go get more permits is another expense. To put food there, I got one right there that's been there for 20 years. So I don't mind. I want a food truck myself, but there is no way that I'm going to put it to go against anybody on the beach. Like I said, it's an emotional thing for me. I would not get involved in something like that. And like Cheryl said, many years ago, I got involved when it was Blessing on the Bikes. That was there. Then it turned over, and I had a stand there, and I would run the food and do all that stuff. But since the sandcastles and all that, it's just, for me, has been a downward thing. It's always been, there's been so much drama before the whole thing started. So I wouldn't want to be involved in that. I got enough to take care of myself in my own store.
Even in the event that that's one way to keep your business afloat? Because it sounds like, whether they're coming or not, it sounds like it's kind of a losing proposition, the way the beaches, the number of people are reducing.
Well, that's a start. I mean, I can always reinvent myself, and that's what I'm going to have to do. Like I said, I haven't really delivered as much. I am changing my whole, I got maybe 15 good more years of me working in a restaurant, so I want to reinvent myself in my own way, not adding on to another problem or more work for me in the summer months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other opponents? Anybody else like to speak on it?
Can I just ask one more question?
Well, actually, I'd like to give someone else a chance to speak first. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this? Sir, if you'd like to speak, step up and... Okay, fine.
I just have a question. Do you know if did you guys participate in the Sandcastle Festival? And if so, if not, why? Your business did. And what did you do well? Good, good. All right. Who is the other food truck? Did you do it? Oh, sorry. Okay, that was just my question.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents? Anybody else like to speak against this? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that section. I think that we need more information in order to do the right thing here. I don't feel like I have enough information to really make a decision on this. I had been in the food business on Revere Beach through the 90s. I know exactly what you guys go through down there. I understand how a bottle of water sold out of a truck would impact you. So, I mean, I understand your plight. By the same token, I also understand that we would like to open up the beach to other businesses, and it's my opinion that a rising tide lifts all boats. And so if it's known for an area of good food, then you attract more people down there for the purpose of eating. I understand that, and I also understand that the program needs to be defined a little bit better before we can, at least before I can make a decision on it. So I would make a motion that we table this and see if we can get more information from the city regarding what their plans look like, maybe after we get the numbers from Tufts University to see what they think the economic impact of this will be. And then at that point, you might be in a better position to make a decision on this. I don't know how my other colleagues feel about it, but I'll turn it over to them.
Well, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think I have enough answers, and I guess mine would, I would hope that Dimples can bring us some papers with some figures on it and something from DCR that even is going to allow this. I still feel that this board just can't say go on the beach and open it. But I would like more input. I hear both sides, and I do sympathize with both sides. I think a pilot program sounds pretty good, you know, a couple of days, but we have to protect taxpayers of the city, the people who've been in business for many years. So I have to agree with Commissioner Selvich that I'm not ready to make a decision either. And it's unfortunate. I would like to leave here with a decision today, but both sides have brought up valid questions. And if we give a license, I would hope when we give a license, it's going to be able to be used. It doesn't have to come back to us and say, wasn't a good license. And more input from the businesses on the beach would be a big help for me. And so I wish both sides good luck. Please bring a little more information, get us a permit from DCR, and then I think the business community can come up with more figures also as to how. I just have one thing. I know both of you have mentioned the police presence has maybe hurt your business a little bit. And I was looking at it in a different way. I thought maybe with the police presence, they would bring more family people to our beach. The beach is beautiful. We have, I'm just a little surprised at that.
Yeah, I think that,
If you'd step up to the microphone, please.
yeah, sure.
I mean, I felt that the beach looked great this year. I see them on their horses, and
Yeah.
it's
No,
been
and-
quiet.
Look, my brother's a state trooper. There is no one that respects, my father was a police chief. I get it. I have more respect for officers than you'll ever know. But with that being said, I think that there's a couple, and I'm going to be very honest with the commission. I think that there's a couple of issues that have contributed to the loss of business on the beach, or the loss of people that come to the beach. A couple years back, in a couple of newspapers, one a Brazilian newspaper and one Hispanic newspaper, both had articles in them about our new mayor being against immigration. And both articles specifically said that do not go to the businesses on Revere Beach, do not attend Revere Beach because of the mayor. Let's show him that he's wrong. And when I first heard about it, I was actually given the newspapers, and I thought, oh, it can't really affect that much. But now, after looking back, I wonder how much did it affect? Because on our side of the beach, we used to get a really, most of my customer base was, Hispanic, Portuguese, Arabic, oh yeah, and Afro-American from the inner city. And I think what happens is I think Revere Beach throughout the years has really gotten a bad rap from one way or another. Let's be honest. If it wasn't the drugs or in the 80s
Yeah, I don't know,
or the
excuse me.
needles.
I don't know if we
But-
really want to go there. I think we're going to stick to the issue. We're running very late.
Okay.
My question was, I just think that with the police, these people want to open right next to the police station. So, I mean, I would think that's a great thing to see them on horses down there. And I think we have, I guess I've been in Revere all my life. I love the beach. I think the beach looks beautiful.
It's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing about it is about when you say we want to know about the police presence. It would be great if you were a family and you're driving down on the boulevard and they do it right in front of Cheryl's store and mine too. When you see one or two state troopers, because we can't say Revere because it's not their jurisdiction. You see one or two, you would think that you were safe. When you start seeing 8 and 9 of them at one time in one area, people are gonna be like, why? Let me go down to Nahant. It's happened, I've heard it. I don't care what anyone says, you don't need anybody else. I hear it all the time. You got 10 of them, and legit 10. And then they got their speed thing, they don't use the little gun anymore, right in the middle of there during Memorial Day weekend this past year. And every year, the last 2 years, again, the beach attendance gone down because of the inner city not coming, because they've been bullied and scared by, I'm just saying
I think you've
that's what
answered.
I'm talking about,
Okay.
attendance.
I hear what you're saying, and
But
that's
thank you
what I
very
was
much for
asking,
asking that.
okay.
I never
So
wanted to go down that road.
You just think because there's a group, it may scare people off. Okay,
a lot of them.
I agree with that, but I will
But
say
the
it's
horses
a
were very nice this year.
beautiful horses, and I will say the beach has been very safe this year, and
Absolutely.
I think it's been a great summer, so
Absolutely.
with that, I think we had a.
Yeah, the only thing I I am agree with my colleagues regarding the information from the pilot program. I wish there was more, high-level goals, objectives, missions, how vendors are, you briefly spoke about how the vendors were selected in this run. I'd like to get those representatives who made that decision from the city, how they went about it. Was it fair? We don't know. There might be a half a dozen vendors that might have been shunned. I think it's a good idea. Revere really lacks a lot of good quality restaurants. I don't think it's a secret. Not that these are restaurants, but I think food trucks are a thing of the future, believe it or not. Quality food trucks. Cambridge, again, real high-end cities and towns use them. They're not going away. I don't have a problem with the program, but again, I have a problem with how it was presented. So I think there's some lack of, so I'm going to agree with my colleagues, and I'd like to table it for the next meeting, come back, and I think, things may, we can make a decision based on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we can all agree that the food truck is not going to go away. It is going to be something that is going to be discussed, and if it's not this year, which it doesn't appear it will be, I would think that we have the rest of the year and coming up to next summer to discuss it. And so from your perspective as brick and mortar businesses, I would think about how are you going to deal with this, because I would think that it is something that is on the horizon. They will define the goals. There will be probably a firmer plan in place that we would be able to vote on, which would include numbers and things like that. So going forward, I would think that you would look at that as something that is going to be happening. And from your end of it, I appreciate that you want to do business in the city, and we would like to have, more businesses come in, more people come in, more food choices come in, and have a vibrant beach community down there. It's worked out well with the farmers market. It's worked out well with some of the other initiatives that the community office has put forward. So I would hope that you guys would continue in that vein and at some point define it a little better. But at this point, I think my colleagues and I are all in agreement that we're not going to be able to enact this and vote on this right now. So I would table this for a later date, and that's what we'll do.
I will go along with tabling it also, but I would like to see them come back and give us some answers and see, at least let us come to a vote if you can get those questions that we asked, and see where it goes from there. But, and I think at that point too, maybe we should notify the businesses along the beach, get their input, see how they feel, and you don't have anything in the works now anyways, so it doesn't make a difference holding out for a month. Okay?
Just a quick question. Do you
Great.
have a proposal to the DCR already? Is it in place? Are you waiting for an answer?
No, they didn't have any paperwork.
So we also don't have an official proposal. What they've received thus far is a draft of the ordinance, and that's it. So we're just waiting to meet to discuss the ordinance. I did hear from Richard Serino, who's the legislative aide to Representative Vincent, that the Legislative Affairs Department at DCR was reviewing the ordinance with their legal team, but that's all the information I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will close that section of the hearing. Item number 4. This is the Revere Partnership, 150 Beach Street. Taylor King, the event manager. This is an application for a special one-day malt wine license. The application is to be exercised in the plaza area of the head of the Marquis Pedestrian Bridge by Wonderland Station on Saturday, September 15, 2018, from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. The event will be the Arts Festival. Is Speaking on behalf of their partnership is,
This is Taylor King, and the address is 150 Beach Street.
thank you very much. Can you tell us a little bit about what you plan to do here?
Of course. So we're going into our third annual Arts Festival as the Revere Beach Partnership, and we're looking to add some more special items to the festival to attract more people to come down. So we have about 15 artists who will be displaying their work, and they will also be able to sell their work. We're going to have a live art competition that anyone can participate in, as well as the high school is going to come down with the art club that they are working on over there. They're going to help us do some kids projects. And so what we're looking to do is create a wine bar in a closed-off area that will be blocked off. Everyone will be ID'd. There will be wristbands. We'll have tip-certified bartenders, just to offer a little bit of a cafe area to give an added special attraction to the festival.
Very good. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions?
No, I'm just a little confused where that is. Right on Ocean Ave?
On the Marquee Bridge.
Okay.
So right in the plaza area of the bridge.
Okay, I get it. I'm up on the bridge. I didn't realize. I thought that was a piece of land. I was looking at it. And so you're right on top of the bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
And how will the area be cordoned off?
So we'll have barriers that will close off the area. It'll also be covered by a tent so that everything can be blocked. There will be no alcohol obviously allowed outside of that area. And we will have security at the front checking IDs and wristbanding.
And how many people will you have for security?
We'll probably have at least 2 at every point.
Very good. And how do you plan on doing this service? I noticed you have wristbands. Can you explain the process of how someone would purchase the alcohol and where they would consume it?
Yep. So we'll have one bar area that we are actually going to outsource to a vendor who's going to come in so that everything is tip certified and everything is done in accordance with how it should be at a bar. And then we'll have little cafe tables available for people to sit at and enjoy a glass of wine or a coffee or something of that sort. Obviously, they won't be able to leave that area with the beverage, but if they want to just enjoy the day and stay in that area, they can. And then also they can leave after, as long as there's no beverage with them, to enjoy the art festival as well.
Very good. Have you chosen the vendor yet?
Not yet. We do have a couple bids into a couple different vendors. So we don't have one vendor set yet, but we have a couple different options.
Very good. Are there any other questions?
Did you in last year's festival?
We didn't. This would be the first year for it. And so the Art Festival Committee was, looking to try and spice it up a little bit to make sure we get a lot of people who come back to the beach and kind of jazz up the festival a little bit for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a really nice event. This first time you're having beer and wine, which is interesting. Was that free beer? It paid?
No, that would all be paid.
Paid, okay,
Yes.
okay. Like I said, it's a great event. I'm surprised there's not more artists. I think there's a reason you keep it to 15.
Unfortunately, our space is limited on the
Correct,
bridge, and we do offer every artist a 10 by 10 space in order to sell their product and everything. So we can only work with so much space on the bridge, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you'll get a good clientele there, so I
Yeah.
think it's going in the right direction.
Thank you.
Just for future reference, if you wanted to do this event next year and continue with the beer and wine, I would ask that you have the vendor approved
Okay.
prior to coming in for the application, because at this point, we have no idea who is going to be dispensing the
Yeah.
wine. I mean, I know you're telling me they're tip certified and this, but I mean, really, we need a little bit more than that going forward.
Definitely, yes.
Is there a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
the motion is approved?
Thank you.
The application for a special one-day malt wine license for the Revere Beach Partnership is approved. The license is to be exercised in the plaza area at the head of the Marquee Pedestrian Bridge by Wonderland Station on Saturday, September 15th, 2018, from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. The event will be an arts festival, and that application is approved. The following communications Number one, a notice from the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission approving the application of R&M Foods, Inc., DBA De Palma, for a malt wine restaurant license. Item number two, a hearing decision from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission, which found Off the Boat, Inc., DBA D'Amelia's Off the Boat Restaurant, in violation of laws pertaining to the purchase of alcohol from a source that is not licensed wholesale distributor. The ABCC issued a warning. Number three, notice of return of no action from the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission requesting a paperwork correction of the application of the Revere Lodge number 1171 of the BPOE of USA, Inc., for a change of officers. Number four, a return of no action from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission requesting a paperwork correction of the application of White Label LLC DBA Easy Pie for an alteration of premises. Number five, notice of the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approving the application of Uno Restaurant LLC DBA Uno Chicago Grill for a change of manager. That concludes the communication, and that concludes the business for today's License Commission meeting. The next License Commission meeting will be September 19th, 2018. Anybody having business before the commission would be asked to return at that time. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second motion?
The motion is carried, and the License Commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.